yesterday. That's both the soul laners that were played yesterday from Golden Guardians taken off the table. But that does leave some of the more meta stuff up there. Certainly Corki Ezreal going to be available. You know, Aatrox now banned away. There's a lot of options here for Golden Guardians.
And of course, those same options are still up for OpTic as well. I am always a fan of target bans against teams that have pocket picks. I think it is the right way to run your draft phase, but you can always contest the Yuumi or contest the Irelia or whatever it is yourself. As the Anivia hover, does he get to Wukong in time? Does he hover Wukong in time? He doesn't. Ezreal instantly locked in. Most highly prized bot laner worldwide in this patch, and locked in here for OpTic.
Yeah, and it's not even close. I mean, in the top 5 regions this last week, 32 Ezreal picks, next highest 14 for Lucian. So certainly has been far and away the most popular pick down there in the bottom lane. But Aatrox, another really popular pick here, is available, can be grabbed up, and certainly should be going up to Hauntzer in that top lane, but we do know that Contractz can play Aatrox as well, so you always have to keep it in the back of your mind that it's a possibility of a flex.
Definitely is. Got Braum in here as well, a pretty strong bottom laner, and or actually should say a support, but it does leave Golden Guardians with a pretty solid front line now in these team fights. Hauntzer is not one shot, it's going to drain tank for a while, and obviously Braum very, very beefy up in that front line, so poised to play for team fight if they need to, and it's OpTic's turn to pick. No one's surprised.
Looking like it will be the grab again. Yeah, by far the most prevalent mid laner. It was Azir up there as well, but almost a double the picks, 30 as opposed to the 16 of Azir. Froggen, though, doesn't necessarily have to go in that direction. He certainly does have a lot of flexibility and actually hasn't brought out the Azir yet this split. So I wouldn't be surprised to see him go another route. Something along the line of his Vel'Koz. That is, tied for most pick for him alongside Anivia. So certainly has the options there. TF has been fairly popular as well. If you want to try to play more through those side lanes, and that is also another pick that Froggen has shown.
All right, now though, OpTic, I mean, you talked about what their bans were, and it was all target bans. They're getting cream of the crop in basically every role. The most common champions down the line really is Sejuani gets there as well. Most
popular picks in all 3 roles that they have actually drafted for thus far. You heard Crumbs talking on the desk about how he wanted to see meteos get one of these jungle power picks, get a powerful pick for Crown as well. OpTic certainly has been able to do that thus far. And it is going to be a little bit of a split as far as the draft priorities in this first phase, as they will grab Kaisa for Huhi. So the bottom lane drafted here by Golden Guardians. No jungler yet taken for Contractz, so we could expect some jungle bans thrown the way of Contractz to try to give meteos even more of an advantage in that jungle matchup.
Looks like similarly we're going to expect Golden Guardians to ban away some top laners here, and there's the first one as Camille is off the table. I'm very excited to see how this Ezreal plus X plays out against Kaisa Braum. They really wanted this champion, though.
It is pretty interesting. They have taken away the most played of Dhokla with this Aatrox, but the ban on the Camille I find a little bit surprising, simply because I think that Poppy is also a good matchup into Aatrox and is so powerful for OpTic and for Dhokla in particular. They've had a lot of success with that pick, so I would have liked to see that taken away. Traditionally, OpTic doesn't really play through their top laner.
Sure, but of course, one thing to point out is, it's auto-attack top laners that combo with the Sejuani that, yes, you can play pop and play tank, but it's the aggro top laners that tend to do the most. One stat I do want to point out with Dhokla is, though he does have, I believe, the lowest jungle proximity difference, meaning he is ganked more than he gets ganked, it's because he's very high in both regards. He actually receives the most jungle ganks of any top laner in the LCS and receives some from meteos.
Yeah, so it is going to be a focus, as you say, on those pairings with Sejuani. Irelia, another one very strong alongside that, able to stack up Sejuani passive incredibly quickly. But Gragas, going to be taken away. TF as well, so a little bit of focus on Froggen as well as Contractz. TF certainly something I could have seen going their way. But this does mean, Jarvan is still available, and they are actually just going to decide to take Trundle. So Trundle hasn't been super popular of late, but is thought of as a very strong answer to Sejuani. People talk a lot about the Sejuani passive plus the Aftershock interaction with the Trundle ult, but a lot of people these days for Sejuani are actually just foregoing the Aftershock and taking things along the lines of Hail of Blades to try to, dissuade that kind of advantage going over to the Trundle.
Being a support, it's going to be Rakan here for Big. Had a couple of options out there, but wants a little bit of engage, and actually they've got a lot now. Sejuani, Rakan, both great at starting fights out. Of course, they've got the double marksman backline with the Ezreal for arrow. the Corki for Crown. Now Dhokla has to pick into what can be a flexible Aatrox. We are expecting that to be a top laner, but
very likely.
OpTic taking their time to make sure they know what's going on. And of course, Golden Guardians waiting on their own mid. And look at that, another, okay, it was the Fiora hover. You were right on the Poppy. I don't think anyone's surprised here, but at the same time, Golden Guardians wanted to remove the fighter options and forced him onto a tank. So very, very big front line for OpTic, and a decent damage threat because of the Corki. And there is the Vel'Koz you brought up earlier. Froggen gonna pick the one up after all.
Yeah, I think it makes a lot of sense. You know, you can match scaling for scaling, similar to how an Azir would do. You know, Vel'Koz does have very powerful wave clear, and it, you know, is going to be a great team fighter. As far as the Poppy pick, I think it makes a lot of sense. You know, the dash very easily denied there from Hauntzer. You can also interrupt. This is something that not everyone knows. The Kaisa ultimate actually counts as a dash, so you can actually prevent that from happening with the W from Poppy. Braum jump as well, so those are all pretty powerful options, and it's hard to bully out this Poppy. But Contractz, you know, as a result, you know, not only can he actually steal those stats from Meteos, if Dhokla is getting really tanky, you have two good ultimate targets, which is going to help him out a lot in the team fights. And I do think that, you know, if you get into those front to back style of fights, having Trundle as well as the Braum for the front line and, you know, these really powerful scaling backliners of Kaisa and Vel'Koz should allow Golden Guardians to shred through the front line that has been built up here from OpTic.
It's going to be an interesting game right there. Let's see what happens as you've got high damage to the one side, but OpTic, I feel like they have such a dream composition as far as champion power pitch. Yeah, absolutely. One thing that's interesting is I believe it's the first Rakan game of the split here for Big over there on OpTic's side, but hopefully we'll still do a very good job there. I've heard very good things about Arrow and Big playing together in scrims. They've done pretty well on stage, but maybe not quite to the reputation been giving them. We're ready to go into this game very, very shortly. OpTic can lock a playoff spot today with help. And they can start by helping themselves with a win here. Golden Guardians also fighting for that top 6 spot, hoping to do it here in their game.
It's going to be a good one here. Cleanse, you can see, taken by Froggen. That is kind of paying respect over mostly to the Sejuani. You really do have to be very careful about that. You know, he talked about kind of some of the strength of the damage output on the Golden Guardian side and utilizing Trundle to help burn through those frontliners on OpTic. But OpTic also has really powerful engage and strong backline here too. So, you know, for them, it's going to be more about how good of an engage can you get with this Rakan, with this Sejuani, and we're going to have to track that. And Meteos, as you can see, is, oh, FBI may have flash now,
They're running a lot of extra money. Ignite burned early on, and yeah, that is flashed down. He can still get back to lane. Crown will not be able to land a Q onto him, but that is certainly a lot of punishment and a much longer cooldown burned away.
Yeah, FBI getting punished pretty heavily. Did not use his potion at the very least. You know, sometimes players will actually panic use that potion too, which then just hurts their laning phase that much more. But he will survive. And you know, I mentioned the Hail of Blade Sejuani. This is actually going to be Fleet Footwork Sejuani. So this is going to help, you know, stay a little bit more healthy on that clear for Meteos. But again, it is, you know, avoiding the aftershock because you don't want to give all of those additional extra stats over to Contractz. You can actually go into negative resistances when your passive falls off. The Fury of the North plus Aftershock, Trundle ults you, and you get punished very heavily. So, you know, dissuading that pick just with the Trundle.
Right, for those who don't know the mechanic, Trundle ult snapshots your resists and then just drains from there. So even when temporary buffs fall off, you just fall farther and farther, as you mentioned, in the negatives. Meteos gonna grab the blue buff, head down towards Wolves and beyond down there, as we've got top side starts for both junglers, actually, as they look at the smaller camps next up. Early bot lane skirmish not doing too much just yet, as FBI was able to recall and get back to lane without having to burn teleport or anything else. So if he manages to stay unganked for 5 minutes, he'll get that flash and all will be well. And they do currently have the push lead, so Golden Guardians will have temporary lane advantage even with the flash down.
Yeah, so that's going to be a pretty good spot for them. As far as this top lane matchup does go, you know, Dhokla, we are expecting to play fairly defensively. It is mostly about just kind of withstanding the push here from the Aatrox in the early levels. You can start to fight back later on as you get some more levels and start to pick up some items, especially if you're going to go for some of the powerful dueling tank items along lines of Sunfire and Iceborne. That can be pretty strong, but Poppy always has a really good time, you know, in some of these melee matchups, just by actually staying in combat with the minions, then every time your passive buckler is up, throwing that out for an easy grasp proc.
Really, really nice stuff. Of course, Grasp does more on melee champions, and she continues to count as melee when she throws that. So powerful stuff right there. Equal gold so far across the squads. Froggen lands a bit of poke on the crown. It's now Contractz walks forward to the bottom side, and right as Big comes in for a fight, this is going to be a battle right across the top as Contractz shows it, looks for a slow to find, and just getting knocked up. He's going to be stunned. They're going to do a lot of damage, but first Big is going to go down. Did not have a way out, and look at that. First blood comes through for Golden Guardian.
This is flashback to the last time they played, but instead it is actually Contractz getting the advantage this time around. Last game was decided so heavily around bot lane, where it was actually, OpTic that was snowballing arrow on his Draven. Meteos was pulling off so many great counter ganks, and this time Contractz is here and they do get the edge. And then as you can see, going in for the engage was big, but Contractz shows up. They're already lower on health, and he just gets absolutely locked down, losing the flash and the kill.
He took the risk. Now a really nice pillar puts damage in the crown, puts the Q in for a minion and runs away, and that was a level 2 Rakan, so didn't have the escape tools and just had to walk slowly back out, and it wasn't enough. So that's great stuff on the Golden Guardian side. Up in gold, now fighting for more map control as Top Scuttle's there too.
You're also going to be feeling so good about the fact that First Blood went on to FBI. That is exactly where you want that to go on your Kaisa. Going to be scaling up, and back here in the mid lane, you can see Crown going to have that TP advantage. But this is actually a nice play if you can have someone come up, Huhi was looking to threaten that roam, try to help Froggen in this lane a little bit, just try to remove some of the advantage that you get from the teleport, because once you teleport back on the Corki, you're now going to try to keep Froggen locked under his turret and make him take a recall that will cost him some CS.
For sure, but as long as Valkyrie's cooldown's available, he's pretty immune to Braum ganks, to be honest, and so far he's probably going to stay healthy here in this matchup. He makes his way back down, has those boots of speed that he had used to get to the mid lane a little while ago. And a nice little bit of trades right there. Hauntzer, of course, holding back on the E. Poppy W, of course, duration is lower as of the patch. Has more of a, impactful thing that happens if you can make it happen, but...
Yeah, and I always like those kind of changes. It's more about the skill question of can you time it right? Can you actually really get it just right instead of kind of just mindlessly pressing it, because it's going to last a long time. So we'll see how effective he's going to be with those. But Dhokla has been a strong Poppy player, and also I think to his credit has been good at playing weak side of the map when he is getting focused, good at trying to survive and kind of minimize losses, because his team often does like to play more, especially with this new bot lane, around bot side and around their mid laner Froggen.
For sure. Well, we can see what happens as Dhokla is just safely farming, but of course Dhokla is down in farm. He's 13 CS out. As Hauntzer is getting the better of him, you can see about a nearly 200 gold lead in that matchup as Meteos takes away the Wolves and Contractz is slightly jungle campless, but Huhi's on the way over. They spot out where the Sejuani is. And he's actually going to sit around, takes a Q. Of course, he's slow immune, so right back out there. No problems as they earn some extra gold. 50 gold across the squad, and they go back down to their lanes.
Yeah, a nice little roam up there from Huhi trying to punish that, but Meteos is going to be able to be successful with his invade, and now it is Contract's turn to try to get over here, but no blast cone available, so he will not be able to do anything about this, and will just be able to clear out a little more vision. Meteos is actually aware, that there is a pink ward over in this brush, but just didn't actually have time to clear it out. So we'll see, when OpTic does get lane priority, if they're going to try to go up and get that done. But for now, it's Golden Guardians taking advantage of the fact that they had mid and bot push, and they're starting up an early Infernal.
And with that trinket ward over the wall, Meteos actually knows someone is over there, puts his own ward down and says, I don't know if I can contest this really. Does have his own flash, but doesn't have the vision to know when to come in. So it looks like Golden Guardians able to claim this one for themselves, and a very early Infernal Drake goes over to the red team.
Yeah, really nicely done. They have the advantage in the bot side. They had push in mid lane, so Froggen maybe misses a CS or two, but very little cost there. And Golden Guardian's going to get a great scaling dragon really early on.
So he tries to deny some farm, runs back out. He's going to survive those blows without too much issue. And once again, this feels pretty solid for this squad. 800 gold lead plus the Infernal Drake means they are certainly winning right now. And again, Hauntzer comes over, but unfortunately for you, Meteos is here. Thanks for the leash, buddy. I'll take it from here. Thanks for the Scuttle Crab. Give my homie some vision.
Yep, and up here on the top side, you can see the Contractz is kind of clearing towards top, but with that knowledge, and they should be fairly safe. Junglers at this level are so good at actually tracking where their jungler could be, the opposing junglers, just based on what camps are available on the map. And Meteos will be donating this blue. Should know that Contractz is up on the top side taking his range.
One thing I want to point out, FBI just lost his flash. Didn't see what happened, if it was a nice engage by Big or if it was a misclick, but we instantly had Big and Arrow. Ping, 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 ping. Hey, flash down, by the way. So 5-minute timer. We'll see if FBI can get ganks.
Yeah, willing to bet based on the fact that Huhi was in base. You know, if a W comes forward that you're going to get hit by, you just have the flash in that 1v2. So, you know, probably was forced out there by Big. But we may get a replay to find out on that. And you can see Huhi again on the roam. You know, he does really like to try to do these plays. You know, whether he's playing a really powerful engaged champion, you know, or not. You know, he does like to try to threaten this very constantly. You'll see him if you ever watch him play solo queue. Anytime he bases, he'll run to a solo lane, see if there's something he can get done there before actually going back to bottom lane. And it is a nice way to always kind of put a bit of additional pressure on.
Yeah.
You know, make those solo lanes play a little bit more nervous, knowing that, hey, if you engage, Huhi may be behind their opposing.
Yeah, and even in your own solo games, right? It's really useful because, oh, this is when they expect you to be gone. Well, he's recalling. He's just getting his wards. Like, don't worry, he'll be back in bot lane soon. Don't worry, top lane. Actually, he's top lane. You expect him to be bot, but he's not there. So, yeah, something to add to your own game at home as well as bot lane continues to fight. And again, Huhi and FBI have to be careful with their flash down. They've pulled Contractz over, though.
Yeah, and Contractz will be behind them. And you can see, you know, they're also trying to kind of set up for this style of play just based on the vision here. You know, this line of pink wards through the river means they have full vision control in this river. So Huhi has more of an ability to move up and down to try to be in that right place at the right time. And you can see Contractz, I think he's expecting meteos to be coming. So that is why he is actually waiting down here on this bottom side, trying to see if they can, you know, bait in a fight, get them to commit, and then take it. Meteos is showing up now.
Right as Vel'Koz comes in, they find the first engage, though big damage, and he's already down. Can't do anything about it. His team's not going to respond in time. That is a kill with flash up.
Yeah, he just gets burst down. You know, he does get hit by that passive stun, locked up and burst down. And you have to remember, the Braum stun is also going to give an additional Kaisa passive stack, which is a lot of damage. Crown has package here, but has to be a little bit careful.
Wants to do as much damage as he can before getting away. Will have TP up when he needs it and the fleet to heal back, but tries to get some punishment. Doesn't get a whole lot done. Goes back to farming as FBI pushes the wave in, deals a bit of damage to Arrow, and will take his recall. Manamune already done. I was able to have that for the fight, and even has more gold now.
Yep, and both kills have gone his way, so going to be feeling really good about this. Again, you know, this was, you know, quite a long way. Oh, that was just a straight up misclick. Ouch. Yikes. Well, back down to this bottom lane fight. As we see this one more time, Contractz in the area. Great ult from Huhi. That knockup goes straight into the Braum stun. No real chance for Big to get away there unless he flashed the initial Braum ultimate. Would have had to been, you know, pretty defensive with his summoner. Yeah. Doesn't actually expend it, but you are very, very squishy. And when you're not actually paired up with the Xayah, you know, your kind of dash with the shield is a shorter range and things like this. So you have a little bit less survivability and power when not paired with Xayah.
Gets punished right there. 1,500 gold. Puts Golden Guardians ahead now into this one as they try to push their way up the standings and lock in one of those playoff spots. Still a very tight race with 3 to play, this one included, but certainly in control of their own fates, I do believe, as now it's OpTic's turn to look in the mid lane, and Froggen does not juke backwards. Has to wait for his cleanse, though. Got the flash right there, knocked up, and this could be the damage. It is, as Crown takes a kill in the mid lane.
Yeah, nice gank there on the mid lane from Meteos and Big. 3 men show up, and despite the fact that Sejuani ultimate doesn't actually connect, he had cleanse and flash. He just gets run down as Crown flashes in after him, and they're able to knock him down. Really nice play, honestly, from OpTic to get something going.
Squad's coming over, though. It's about to be a 3-on-3 as Contractz takes some damage, but feels comfortable, has the ult when he needs it, as now Huhi's coming over as well, and Big might have to be careful. They run forward. They have half the stun ready. True Shot Barrage with Contractz 500 HP. He's going to walk away, so no battle continues.
Yeah, both top laners were actually roaming down here on the map. You can see them kind of trying to zone each other out now up on that top side. So, you know, nice little move from the solo laners. Everyone getting called down. Ocean Dragon now has spawn, which is such a powerful early dragon to grab, but we are a little bit later into the game. OpTic should be able to grab it, though. They have priority in the area right now, so they're going to pull down Crown and try to even up the dragon score.
900 gold separates them. And this Drake now going to be kind of an answer as well. Golden Guards with the Infernal, but OpTic about to grab Ocean for themselves, and that is no contest whatsoever, so that's theirs entirely. Easy smite by Meteos, out they go.
Yeah, so here this is one more time. So the Sejuani ultimate does miss, but as you know, he's getting collapsed on, he actually does have to flash away. Does have to cleanse, but he actually cleansed a knockup, which doesn't do anything because he didn't have his flash. So if he had his flash at that point, you can actually cleanse the knockup, then flash. But without some sort of a move block, you cannot actually escape in that situation. but the amount of damage he was taking meant he had to flash earlier or he would have just straight up died.
Yeah.
So it felt like a no-win spot.
It felt like he was greedy too, because he held his flash for a while and took, I think, both halves of Meteos W, when you can just like flash instantly and maybe drop some of the CC earlier on. Either way, good follow-up. They knocked down Froggen. Good play by OpTic the Drake afterwards. Now, top lane is the eye of everyone's attention as Rift Herald is being attacked, but OpTic are around to stop this. Froggen's here as well. Still have plenty of patience though, which is the possibility still. Smite available on both junglers. Doesn't need to be on the Herald.
Yeah, you don't challenge now. Crown's at less than half HP. Froggen actually comboed him over the wall, so OpTic definitely have to give it up off of that poke that Froggen just grabbed. And also, gotta kind of check in here on top lane. Despite the fact that, Poppy can kind of survive this matchup, look at the farm advantage, right? That is 40 CS that Hauntzer is up. And they're actually going to drop the Rift Herald top lane to extend that advantage right before that 14-minute mark. So I do love this. Golden Guardians get to focus on this. They will cash in on some turret plates and putting Hauntzer even further ahead.
Meteos is around, but I don't know if they win the fight too easily. He's going to wait around for the third plate. He wants to sit in range, and he does. That's a nice chunk of 480 gold all directly onto Hauntzer from the Herald pickup. They got it down in time. Good play, Contractz, summoning before it was too late.
I mean, now he's 1,700 gold ahead in that 1v1. That is actually quite a huge lead. That is more than the difference in the game. So, that solo lane advantage there for Hauntzer, very, very big. He did go Conqueror, so certainly looking to try to bully this tank matchup. And we will see, if he can continue to extend that or if Dhokla's going to be able to stabilize. Because if you can't keep your first turret alive, things can start to get very rough. You don't have any longer have that kind of safe zone where you can kind of farm it out.
Well, we'll have to watch for this one as the plate's getting lower and lower as Golden Guardians winning a fair bit through top lane. Nice pillar, but again, Crown can always make sure he's smart on the Valkyrie. Casts it afterwards, gets over, and he's going to stay safe yet again.
Yep, so well played by him. He has already completed his call as well. That was a pretty early purchase there from Crown, so is going to be able to cash in and have some additional gold there as a result, farming quite well here too.
He got Triforce to go back to base, plus a BF sword almost afterwards, so certainly in a decent spot for Crown's farm. You can see he's actually up in CS right now, and he got that kill from when his team roamed over, so he's doing just fine. The question is, can the rest of OpTic keep up with a small deficit in the early game? Blue being set up by Contractz. Froggen finally clears the wave, walks over. That's going to be trigonometry. Does it. And now, Hauntzer, 1 auto, 2 autos, turret down, missed the Q. Second Q is going to land though, and as long as he waits on the E, does so, finds some more damage to Dhokla.
Yeah, really well done there with Hauntzer. Contractz dropping that Rift Herald, got the turret very low. Hauntzer had already gotten some work down on it. So now has a massive lead here, 2,200 gold in that 1v1. And generally this is a matchup where you'll get pushed in early, but if things are going well, you can stabilize it and kind of stop that advantage from getting bigger, and then you're sitting fine. But in this position, he's actually so far behind now that it may just continue to get worse, because look at the itemization difference already from Hauntzer. He's got his Black Cleaver, and he's building towards a Death Dance, which is so strong against tanks, because you get to the point where you're then shrugging off all of the return damage that a Poppy can put out, and you just start to push in the wave, ignore the Poppy, and right-click the turret.
Yep, has tenacity committed as well, of course, from his choice in runes. Ow! True Shot Barrage. Ooh, he's going to be okay. He's fine. He'll live. Happy holidays. It's a skin reference. Keep up, internet. And Golden Guardians back in the mid lane now as Hauntzer's going to have some free time to push to the top side and then roam down if he needs to, but you can see the Contractz is just against this wall. Waiting for a pillar, waiting for some hard engage because Froggen can blow someone up. There's the pillar. E goes the wrong way. I don't believe they had full vision onto him. They guessed which way he went and they guessed wrong. Back out goes big.
Yeah, so far, just continuing to farm up here. And Golden Guardians, really, their mid and bot lane are doing, very well. And you can see certainly a pretty nice advantage for FBI. Has the 2 kills, up about 15 CS, but it's mostly about that top lane lead. So they're going to pull Hauntzer down, try to group up, and look to actually fight around their strongest member.
Decent pillar, finds some damage on the crown. Blue Smite now as well, doing some good damage. Contract's got to be careful, he's on the package. Braum comes over the top, but they're not getting any kills just yet. Contract's burning down, but just barely staying alive. Instead, it's Meteos who drop, but it's 1-for-1. Support goes down, as Hauntzer can only find a bit of a knockup, but not enough. A trade in kills.
Yeah, and Golden Guardians, though, they're the ones with more health, and they will be able to kind of move over to this Dragon Pit. Contract's only one very low, but Froggen and Hauntzer and FBI, all the carries very healthy here. But in trade, OpTic may be able to actually just knock down this turret.
Looks like mid-outer is going to be theirs as recompense for the Ocean Drake going down. The 4v4 on the map, as FBI doesn't have a good way to clear that wave, so even more damage will be dealt. They've got to get away from some of this, and Aftershock available, Demolish available. That turret's down to about 1/3 HP. They can really stay for this one, and if they can spend the extra few seconds, look at that OpTic. Claim 2 turrets in the mid lane. Well played.
Yeah, I actually just think that Golden Guardians perhaps underestimated just how much damage could actually be done there. You know, if they thought they were going to lose both turrets, I think Hauntzer would have stayed around and tried to move up and wave clear that with them. But I will say, I was a little bit surprised that OpTic took the initial fight, given that Dhokla was still up in the top lane and Hauntzer had roamed down and was much stronger. They do end up trading kills, which is, you know, not too bad for them. And in the long run, I would say I'd actually rather have the 2 turrets than the Ocean Dragon right now.
I think I definitely agree with that one, especially a somewhat later Ocean Drake doesn't affect the landing phase nearly as much. Two teams already got most of their sustain options by now. But we'll see as time goes on if there's some kind of crazy Baron play that the Ocean saves them from. But obviously gold is valuable and power spikes are meaningful. That said, Golden Guardians still winning this Hauntzer Dhokla matchup by so much. You can see Poppy forced to run away. The rest of the squad could move around, and so bot out are going to be killed as well.
Yes, hear this is one more time. You know, Hauntzer is already at the fight, so they do, you know, kick it off, and Contractz gets very, very low. Does have to flash out. You know, Dhokla now arriving, but only arriving once the fight is already essentially lost. You know, they've already lost one member, already are being pushed back. But during that replay, as you would have seen in the picture-in-picture, you know, Hauntzer and Froggen able to knock down an outer, so tying up the turret score there, 2-2.
Items have come through. So Death Dance, as you mentioned, done for Hauntzer. Sunfire plus Executioners, though, in for Dhokla, which will help him at least handle the guy in team fights. He won't with the 1v1s, don't get me wrong, but at least can cut the healing in the team fights.
I actually don't love the Executioners, you know, and I understand the reasoning is, well, we'll get back to it as...
Yeah, mid's being sieged. There's a stun to the back line. Damage in towards FBI. Has to walk away from this one, but Huhi, yeah, still tanky enough, puts the shield up. And actually, Hans looked for a chase, but either way, it forces the retreat, and mid-out is going to fall. That will be traded, though, by Crown and OpTic. Again, Crown on side lanes has been part of their success, so he is still trading objectives well, and the game remains within under 1,000 gold.
Yeah, Froggen just dropping the ultimate there, utilizing that as essentially a zoning tool, trying to push back their wave clear, you know, and threaten them. But, you know, back to the Executioner point quickly here. You know, I do think that healing debuffs are very important, and he's taking this to prevent Hauntzer from just healing up off minions. Because what can happen is if you go for a Thorn Mail, then great. He trades on you, he gets low, he just starts hitting minions and heals full. So that's why Dhokla has done this, but my problem with it is I think you're so far behind, you never win the 1v1 at any point in the game now. So I would actually rather have the additional armor and tankiness from, you know, a Thorn Mail going into a team fight instead of the Executioners.
Yeah, maybe so, but I guess you can just at least reliably apply it at some point, and so in the 5-on-5, maybe it happens, but you're right, it's ease of application versus actual stats you need to survive, and we'll see which one plays out.
Yeah, and I mean, if you're winning the matchup, I think it's great, right? You know, if you're at a point where you're ahead, then hey, stay ahead, but you know, in the team fight, you know, I'm not sure if Poppy will be sitting on the Aatrox and autoing him enough, but we will find out, and Dhokla has made his choice.
All right, well, we'll see when the 5-on-5s are up once again. We can have Baron already alive and the Ocean Drake in 90 seconds, so you might see them before too terribly long. Right now, though, Golden Guardians are the ones claiming the top rivers. They've knocked down a control ward, got a few wards down themselves, but not terribly much vision. You can kind of like toggle, and it's certainly a lot of darkness on the OpTic side, but not any deep vision on the Golden Guardian side either. So sneaks could be possible. We have seen those before, and in fact, there's a blue trinket. Kismet.
Also worth pointing out, Crown is actually the richest member in the game. You know, despite the fact that Hauntzer got all those turret plates and, you know, got the first turret, Crown, you know, is ahead of everyone in gold. You know, he is nearly 2K ahead of Froggen because he, you know, was split pushing, took down a turret, is up a lot of farm, and, you know, at a very strong point in the game already, has the IE in addition to that Triforce. So pretty powerful 2-item spike here, in addition to that Stork Boots. And, you know, really quickly, he will be moving towards his 3 items where Corki can, you know, take over games. And we have seen Crown do that, you know, in a number of times this season where he does get to late game. He game fights very, very well.
So Crown's going for the IE into rapid fire cannon version of the build. I'm personally partial to the double BF sword ERIE, but, you know, that's his choice there, and it will give him better turret sieging when that item comes online, thanks to the bonus range. Nice little poke. Wow, Arrow loses a third of his health from a single Vel'Koz Q, and now with vision gone, Golden Guardians start the Baron, force the rotation. There comes Crown over the top, gets down to half HP. The chase, FBI can't find him. And Crown actually just gets 2 ults tanked out, but now he's got nowhere to go. He's got nowhere to run. He's gonna jump over the wall, but there's still no escape to his left. The rocket's not even landing, and goodbye to Crown.
I don't know what he was thinking. There was no one there to actually follow up. Yes, they dissuaded the Baron, but they had already done that. You know, you could already see Golden Guardians retreating. now with the strongest member dead, you just go back to Baron and start it again. So, you know, Crown putting his team in quite a bad position here.
Decent damage to the Hauntzer, though. Arrow really stepping up, cutting him down to 1,000 HP as he takes down the rest through Death's Dance. But now the fight might continue. They get half health in this Rakan. 6K on the Baron. Meteos has Smite and Flash. He's going around the backside of the wall. They need vision, though, from the rest of the squad. Dhokla kicks out Trundle. Can they engage with the Baron? No, they're going to let it disengage. OpTic does not go for the hard play to try to knock one down, and they're going to let it reset.
Yeah, that was actually huge. Really good play from both Arrow and Dhokla. A key ultimate there from Dhokla to reject Contractz and reset the Baron. And also, all that poke that Arrow had gotten down, pretty important there as well. So Crown kind of bailed out by his teammates, and they will be able to withstand that Baron attempt for now. And going to be heading down to try to grab a second Ocean here. Just continually to build up that kind of power.
Yeah. Looks like this is going over. So really what I want to say is Crown is a mastermind and saw into the future and said, if I kill myself, my team gets the trade. And that's really the real strat. That's hashtag Korean advice.
Just give your life and give over that shutdown. Definitely the play, but great ultimate here from Dhokla, knocking out Contractz. And with him out of the pit, they definitely had to retreat. You know, anyone else tanking up that Baron would have taken a lot of damage. And you know, with the poke coming in from Arrow, I think it was the right call to back up.
They do that. FBI low on health, has the red buff for the Ocean for regen, though. He can actually stay in the map if he wanted to. FBI will actually regen pretty good HP, but he's going to walk back to safety. True shot barrage over the top. They're going to tag him as well. So once again, at this point you can walk, by the way. It's faster, I think, but whatever.
Yeah, but it doesn't look as stylish.
It doesn't look as stylish. He's got the Jackie Love, you know, signature down there, running IG Kaisa, so, you know, I get it.
Yep, and we can see that he is also going, you know, an AP or at least a hybrid style of build. Stops back for the Hex Shrinker, interestingly enough. You know, there is some magic damage obviously from Sejuani. Crown is purely magic damage.
Yeah.
There basically, it's about a 90% split between the abilities and the auto attack damage. So, you know, is going to stop for that, but he's working towards a Nashor's Tooth and, you know, perhaps, you know, wants to grab something like that Death Cap as the last item. But, you know, we have been seeing quite a bit of AP Kaisa rather than the full-on AD with an IE these days. And I do think one of the reasons it's really nice is it kind of has better defensive options. You know, being able to grab something like a Zhonya's or a Veggie Tail can be quite effective in a lot of games.
Yeah, and you can turn those stats, like you can transform those stats through by having the Nashor's Tooth. That you can double dip the AP a little bit. The kid, of course, already has the ratios regardless. And that's going to be the push right there. Regardless, it's going to be Ma and Nashor's, and we'll go from there. And he'll have, I guess, one slot left, and whatever it is, it'll be.
That's true.
Banshees, maybe, who knows?
Who could tell?
Who could tell?
Let's wait.
Not me.
We'll find out later.
We'll find out later, Azael, you're right. We can list every item in League of Legends. You want to do that?
No.
What if Stoneplate gets built?
Someone stop this man. Security.
Redemption coming through for Big. Nice item there. True shot barrage. Spots 2. Even 3, actually. Revealed just enough extra vision down there. They saw FBI, and Golden Guardians again going to play around this Baron pit. But right now, the vision control goes to the blue team with the Scuttle Crab being killed a little while ago. Good job, Meteos.
Worth mentioning now that Hauntzer is on a really strong 3 items. I think this is as strong as Aatrox actually gets in the game. You know, he is almost 16, so that will be a nice little improvement there. But when you are on Death Dance, Black Cleaver, and your Spirit Visage, you have 40% CDR. You have the increased healing from your ultimate that is, you know, kind of double dipping with the Spirit Visage as well as that Death Dance. So you become incredibly tanky just through this kind of life drain tanking. And Golden Guardians are actually just 2-maning the Baron. They have 4 pinks in the area.
The second they started, OpTic actually pinged the Baron pit, said, hey, are they doing this? The answer is yes. And Contractz is at half HP. Golden Guardians, though, coming around. Low health in the Trundle's got to be a little bit careful about this one. He's got 800 HP. Over the top is a lot of damage. And Dhokla's at half health right now, so it's going to be OpTic forced out, but Golden Guardians not getting anything either.
Yeah, OpTic, you know, kind of flubbed that engage as well. Big, you know, popped his alt W. It looked like he just did it in place, though. Not sure if that was a bit of a panic, you know, if he wanted to try to go forward or go back, he wasn't sure. But didn't actually connect on anyone, it looked like, with his ultimate engage.
Yeah.
So did have to back off. And, you know, Froggen, you know, his positioning with the Vel'Koz, I think, is one of the things that really makes him a great Vel'Koz player. He's always finding good angles where he is both safe, you know, and uninterruptible for his ultimate, but also getting out a really high amount of damage. And, you know, when you do get to the later stages of the game, just dropping that ultimate can make someone base at times. But, you know, that is a little bit complicated by the fact that OpTic have 2 Oceans.
Yes, I was going to say, that's actually a really big deal here, is that poke is so much less valuable when you can regen so much of your HP by just waiting 15 seconds, and that's faster than a recall and walking back. So That does get a bit harder. The Baron dance, the poke dance, really not an easy option for GGS. They have to play probably a lot more in the side lanes as the first Q's going to land, and Hauntzer now not having to worry about the rest of this. Can find a lot of damage on a Dhokla, half HP there. Nicely played, outplays the ult, forces the flash away. Was going for move speed, but regardless, gets a big pull down of Dhokla.
Yeah, great little dodge there. Had to play the mind game. Knew the Hauntzer was going to dash one way, so you have to make that guess, and Hauntzer outplays it. Getting the summoner down is very nice because, you know, his top lane matchup is starting to stabilize somewhat. You know, he's no longer really knocking down a lot of turrets or creating as much pressure. So getting a summoner out like that, if you can draw an additional man down to kind of defend against you, that can open up a lot of opportunities for Golden Guardians to move over to the Baron, to get vision there. Because for now, it is mostly OpTic vision in the area.
Golden Guardians wants to take this back right now as Contractz leads the way, has the sweeper up, but can't kill all the wards in time as the poke's not going to land this time around either.
Yeah, and the next objective is the Infernal.
Tanky Huhi gets away from the knockup though, and Contractz pops Stoneblade. He's invincible practically. Damage towards Zero, they're going to walk away, and Golden Guardians once again not finding their way in.
I think that was a really intelligent disengage. That was the Stoneblade as well as the Trundle ultimate that got dropped there. You're not killing that Trundle during those cooldowns, so, you know, actually trading Sejuani ult for that, I think is advantage towards OpTic, and they are now starting up the Infernal. They're looking to even up in that regard as well.
Okay, more damage up towards Huhi. They're going to go for the Baron. So the Drake steal right there, and it is going to be picked up. A good smite for Contractz. Had the level lead, not sure it came into effect, but regardless, hits the button correctly.
Yeah, OpTic, you know, they were fairly split up. I think they perhaps could have commit more to trying to actually keep Contractz out of the pit. Instead, they let him walk in, he grabs the smite, and now it's a 2 Infernal advantage for Golden Guardians.
Yeah, and you have Aatrox pushing into the bottom lane. Dhokla has the TP, but can't fight a 1v1, so the Drake picked up as a steal. This turret gonna go down as well, and it's really pushing OpTic down to make tougher and tougher choices. They have not hit the Baron themselves. I don't know if they have control of it or what, but they're just sitting around.
Yeah, you know, not confident enough to actually take that engage. You know, OpTic floundering a little bit in this last couple of minutes, you know, having some tough decisions to make. They do now send Dhokla down to that bottom lane to answer, and he cannot kill Hauntzer certainly, but I do think he is strong enough, especially, you know, with the double ocean to keep wave clearing. So here's this one more time. You can see that Dhokla, Crown, and Big are all over to the side and just not really in position to actually, you know, help push out Contractz. I think that the reasoning was simply they wanted to have the people with dashes in the pit so they could easily come back over and utilize the other 3 to actually help zone. But, I mean, Crown had package. Even if you just package across the river, that slow field is actually so powerful. I believe 90% slow. You know, even just doing something like that may have bought enough time that Contractz couldn't have got into the pit. So, you know, they don't commit to it. And as a result, Golden Guardians are going to be feeling pretty damn good.
Once again, they play for the top river. Pretty consistent here in the LCS. Mid lane, top river. That is 90% of the mid game. And they are sitting in that location right now. Hauntzer finds some damage towards meteos. Force going to jump away. Arctic retreat this time around. Nice pillar. Arrow's still slow. They could find some damage, but they got a lot of damage back towards Contractz now as well. As now Huhi finds an engage. Gets the open rock, but they're going to have to blow up the back line. As the Corki is gone, they find another slow. This could be another kill as Big just going to jump back to his team and stay alive, but it's still a 5v4 on the map as Golden Guardians picked off the mid laner.
Yeah, FBI just went in with the ultimate and assassinates Crown. They now have full control of this Baron area. Crown is dead for 35 seconds. Again, OpTic will have to try to defend this in a 4v5. This is going to be a tall task for them.
Contractz might is a few seconds away, about 10 seconds. They should have time for that one, no problem. They're going to find the knockup though onto Froggen and try to burst down the mid laner. And it could be a trade back, but he's barely going to survive. Does not have the ulti, not easily into this fight. Dhokla going to pop stopwatch to buy some time. And Baron's still helping. This could be a fight for OpTic. They find some damage. They can't quite find the kills. Huhi dangerous, and they will finally get one kill in FBI. Chasing for another one. A knockup's going to find, but not before Arrow claims the double kill.
Oh my god, OpTic not only stopped them, they may get the Baron. They're actually TPing in Crown now. They want to try to take this. Big with the great engage on a Froggen, and Arrow hitting so many Qs, but Contractz is still around. No smite though.
And with double ocean, this is doable. They can actually just withstand Baron forever. True shot barrage spots this out. Contractz No flash, but has smite. Big's got his number, though. He'll find at least the charm.
Hauntzer.
Make him run away. Hauntzer's going to try to 1v4 this team fight. Froggen over the top will kill meteos. It's a 1-for-1, though. Big taking damage. Contractz ult means some damage himself, and they will force Baron to reset. Still, OpTic can regen. It's the 1-for-1 in kills, and Baron will not be slain.
Meteos is dead, so no chance of them going back onto that Baron. So critical kill there. Froggen with the laser across the pit. Takes him down, but what a back and forth game. So look at this engage from Big. Catches Froggen. They push him out immediately. Dhokla doing a great job actually tackling Hauntzer into the wall. And then watch Arrow. He's hitting every Q, it feels like, in this fight. 3 straight Qs, 4 straight Qs on Hauntzer, pushing him straight out of the fight. And then the chase begins. Again, nailing so many of those onto critical targets, allowing Arrow to clean up multiple kills. That was some pinpoint accuracy there from Arrow. And a great fight from OpTic.
Look at the comeback OpTic's been able to levy here. 3,100 gold down at the worst point, back to tie. There's even a little bit of blue, I think, just maybe on that graph. And you can see this game is now inches apart right here. Still, I do favor double Infernal, but you can clearly see OpTic have been able to fight back against that just fine.
Ooh, Dhokla is in a flank position here. We'll see if they go for it. Remember, Froggen, no summoners!
This is the play right now. He's going to find the wall slam. They've got a lot of damage, and that's going to be a kill, but it's 1-for-1 so far as they trade. FBI to the back line. Damage towards meteos, finds a second kill. Looking for number 3 now as Dhokla's going to build some space for the squad, and Hauntzer's on the chase. Gets that kill picked up, and it's now only Arrow left alive. Flashed over the wall, trying to stay, trying to run. Knocked up again. That will be the kill. The ace for 1. Who needs Froggen, Golden Guardians, and the rest of the team?
Golden Guardians just clean up in that fight. It was a great initial engage from OpTic. They do take down Froggen, but FBI and Hauntzer were still alive and took over. Golden Guardians finally gonna win the Battle of the Baron here. These two teams fighting back and forth, and it will be the Golden Guardians who claim the advantage.
Looking to find their 8th win of the split. Still more to do, but you can see this game now looking very good for GGS.
Yeah, so here this is one more time. Dhokla knows he has flash, and Froggen has no summoner, so straight in. Does knock him down, but they commit a lot to this, and you can see FBI flying into that back line again. Untouched here. Hauntzer and Contractz creating so much space for him, and FBI is just shredding people at this point in the game.
And that last knockup, Arrow, no way out anymore. You've got a pretty fast-running Darken, the scary blade, and he got the damage output there. So 4 major items onto Hauntzer, plus the boots, plus half of the next one. Sterik's coming in pretty soon. He's got to feel really comfortable here. Yeah,
and Executioner's now grabbed up by Arrow, trying to help to answer Hauntzer, who is so powerful. But again, Crown, still sitting on a ton of gold, is right up there with Hauntzer, has his Void Staff completed, is on 4 items, working towards that 5th. But it is OpTic trying to play this scrappy game, trying to push out multiple lanes, while Golden Guardians does shove. We'll see if they're actually willing to just straight up give up their inhib. But Arrow has come back to base, so it looks like they do want to try to defend.
The 4-on-4 might be comfortable for GGS. They've got Corki coming now over as well, so OpTic could try to find an engage without Hauntzer around.
There.
He's close by. Crown, does he go for the big play? It's against Baron buff. You might want to wait this one out. Looks like they will not pull the trigger. He will instead wave clear down to this mid lane, but you can see a nearly 5,000 gold difference makes GGS feel quite comfortable here.
Yeah, Golden Guardian's certainly in the driver's seat. When you add in the double Infernal, that's thousands of extra gold of power as well. So that is certainly very nice. But at the very least, OpTic did get a full push on the bottom side. So there's not 3 lanes that they're having to deal with just yet. Hauntzer will knock down this mid turret, but I think OpTic are going to have to try to make a decision here pretty soon. Do they make a stand, or are they willing to give up 1 inhibitor?
So look for the opportunity right now is top lanes at 60%. Mid lane barely touched right here, but Hauntzer able to clear the wave, no problem. Once again, they're going to walk towards. OpTic have plenty of poke, though. They've got lots of AoE. They can knock down the minions. They can poke the enemy champions, and turret falls to half HP.
Contractz is trying to just actually tank the Qs to defend that cannon, but is taking a lot of damage, so had to decide to give that one up.
That one finally drops. Hauntzer to find a knockup, but a Crown can't get the one there, so the Corki stays safe. And a few more chips will be meaningful damage on the inhibitor turrets. Keep in mind, they regen pretty quickly, but they only regen to the nearest 1/3 HP. If you get it below 33%, it doesn't grow any farther. That's going to be the turret down regardless. They push that one down. This could be the team fight. They evict one, though, and a big knockback, but FBI can always ult back in if they find that stun. Not just yet, though, but damage towards meteos at half HP on the Sejuani. Top inhib itself will be cracked. And that is Golden Guardian taking a lot of the base now.
Yeah, so OpTic makes the decision they are not going to make their stand there. do back off and give up the one inhib, and I think they have bought enough time that that should be all they lose. You know, so certainly not game-ending damage. It is a nice kind of bit of power on the map, though, for Golden Guardians, as they will have that pushing lane. But you know, they're looking for more.
Forward again, decent damage. Crown again pushed backwards, half mana on him. Dhokla half health as the next wave is coming across with the cannon. Smited away the meteos, but now the attempted engage it again, forcing Crown out. Some damage for the meteos as well. The shield comes up, and they're going to knock down the inhibitor turret. Still Braum up on, finally timing out right now. They pulled back meteos. Burns a stopwatch. They can kill him out right afterwards as the ult comes in for Hauntzer. Looking for the dive. Low health in the tank. Almost one shot will kill him in, but a nice tanking by Dhokla stops the team from running forward anymore. Still the true shot barrage over the top, but it's going to mean the inhibitor regardless as Baron is timed out. Gold has been earned. It's time for GGS to reset.
Yeah, Golden Guardians did a great job there, though, with the final seconds of their Baron buff, pushing aggressively for that turret, you know, utilizing Froggen's ultimate, going forward with that space that Hauntzer and Froggen created. FBI can get autos in on the turret, and they knock down not only the second inhibitor turret, but the second inhibitor, and that is a very big deal there. Felt like OpTic had held on long enough, but they just didn't have the wave clear to actually keep that final inhibitor tower there in the mid lane safe.
Couldn't quite keep it, so now we look at the state of the game, and it's, as the resets come through, a 6,000 gold. This one fully realized in inventory as GGS finally gets to shop, and we can see items are completed kind of across most of the inventories here. FBI, no more room to grow. Same spot for Hauntzer. Gigantic CS leads for both those players, or at least gold leads. CS certainly in the top lane.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Crown and Arrow, though, they're both full items as well, right? So, you know, any gold differential there doesn't really matter. You know, certainly it is nice for Dhokla to get the additional items, but it is less important, I think, than some of these other members. So OpTic still has a lot of power, despite the fact that they are behind, and we'll see if they can hang on here, because it's been Golden Guardians running the show and now trying to close in for this third and final inhibitor here in the bottom lane, with supers coming in both mid and top.
All right, Crown on full items. Lots of attack speed on this build. I think if he gets enough money, he should trade Shiv out, but for now I think he needed a instant burst of power, so it's fine for here as he tries to defend now the bottom inhibitor, the turret to be sieged, low on health. Poke's not going to land yet for the Vel'Koz, but Aatrox over the top means they're going to force the team back, and Snowflake comes in for Contractz. Pillar over the back wall as well. They're going to find a lot of damage, and it's already Dhokla going down. Redemption buys a little bit of space, but will it buy enough? As Hauntzer is still so durable in the front line. More damage coming across from Froggen now as well, and OpTic forced back. All inhibitors now dead, and they can keep pushing forward, just joining in with the mid lane. This could be the Nexus turrets right now. 4 versus 5, OpTic must defend, but could they possibly do it? Meteos pushed back, Arrow the same. One turret's going to drop, and at what point can OpTic actually take the fight? Package only goes backwards. Big can't find engages. There's no damage to be had. Meteos burning down, and there is just not a fight to be had. Arrow, one hit from dead. He's going to drop as well, and Golden Guardians will take the win. They will knock down OpTic and grab their 8th win of the split.
And such a clean way to close out this game, Golden Guardians.
Such a clean way to close out the game. Stopwatch for the shutdown. There's the Nexus.
Yep. Not going to be able to get the kill on Big. But the way that they utilized their comp, I think, to Siege was so good. Utilizing the Trundle pillar, the Vel'Koz zoning, as well as the super strong Aatrox to make up for the fact that Kaisa doesn't have very long range, is not, you know, one of the best sieging marksmen. This was some impressive stuff from Golden Guardians, and once they got that Baron, it was very back and forth before that point. But once they got the Baron, they closed out this game very, very quickly.
Yeah, really impressive stuff. Hugs from the players in some cases, and well, we still have the playoff race very tight right here. You've got quite a few squads still in contest for the last 4 playoff spots. Only 2, I believe, have been locked in so far, and only 1 team has been locked out. Golden Guardians now tying OpTic at 8-8, makes that race even more exciting.
Yeah, it certainly does, and you know, also kind of extending the gap between Clutch, 100 Thieves, and that final spot, right? Because those teams now are 2 wins behind.
Yeah,
that 6th and final playoff spot. So some catch up to do, certainly, from these teams, and it has been impressive to see, you know, the turnaround kind of from Golden Guardians, who a lot of people thought was falling out of playoff contention, that was looking like they were going down and going to be, you know, missing playoffs perhaps. They have really turned things around, and getting a big win here over OpTic does a lot for their playoff chances.
Definitely a big pickup there. FBI and Huhi, the bottom lane, has been what they have stuck with so far. We knew they picked up Keith a week and a half ago. FBI is still the starter for them. Picked up another one right there, and now 1-1 in the head-to-head against OpTic themselves, as well as the 8-8 scoreline tied up. But now for more on the victory, I'll be standing by to hear from the Golden Guardians jungler.
Thanks, guys. Contractz, congratulations on the win. Little scuffed dive there at the end, but I want to talk about the game because it was such a back and forth game. So at what point did you know that the win was yours?
I mean, I'm just playing Trundle in the 2 tanks, so team fighting is just pretty easy. I just hold one of the tanks, and then they can't really kill me for however long my ulti lasts. So, I mean, I just trust my damage dealers to do damage in team fights, right? So, yeah, I mean, just pretty easy. Just kind of team fight and you win.
And looking at this game and your opponent, you were against Meteos, who is known for being proactive in the jungle. And as well, we had Crown making all these roaming plays yesterday and just having general control of the map. So was there a game plan for dealing with that team today?
Not specifically. I think we just kind of go into the game with like our own plan, and we try to execute our plan to like, you know, it's just like if you execute your own plan, it doesn't really matter what the enemy team does or like what they do. Like sure, you can like counter them in draft and stuff by banning or picking certain champs that are like they're strongest at. But yeah, I mean, if you just go into the game with your own plan and execute on it, I think it's pretty simple.
And as we're moving into the final week of the summer split, the race for playoffs is incredibly close. We think that we pretty much know that there's going to be a huge scuffle for that 5th and 6th spot. So what does Golden Guardians think of the team's chances?
I think we have pretty good chances so far. I think this week was like the biggest week that we had because we reversed the teams that were pretty close to us in the standings, and we were able to go 2-0. So I think we're in a pretty good spot, and I think we can definitely make playoffs.
And I believe one of your final opponents is going to be Cloud9, who now houses your former teammate Deathly. So what do you think about his transition over there and your opponent?
It was an unlucky game yesterday for sure for him, but you know, I think he's a really good player and he has a pretty good mindset and he works pretty hard, so I'm happy for him.
And then final question for you as the LCS player, anime expert. I want to ask, I've had so many players come up to me and say, hey, have you watched new Demon Slayer yet? Have you watched new Demon Slayer yet? So why are all of the players obsessed with this show particularly?
I mean, it's just the animation is pretty insane. I don't know why specifically. I mean, I guess they have like a cute girl. I don't know, a little girl.
Thanks, Contractz. Congratulations on the game. Cute girls, anime, State Farm Analyst Desk. Please talk about the game.
Thank you very much, Avali.
Talking about best girl.
So yeah, cute girls, anime.
Yeah.
What you got for me?
Well, okay, so yesterday
Poppy.
we got to see OpTic play Poppy into Impact's Aatrox, and Dhokla got bodied by the Aatrox, and impacted so much that we were thinking, just how tanky is Aatrox? So we got the stats here of the end game total damage taken. So Poppy withstood 32,000 points of damage.
Pretty
and
good.
You're thinking that, okay, since he lost lane, maybe Aatrox did a ton of damage and a lot of it came from there. But surprisingly, Aatrox took 44,000, 12,000 more damage from the Aatrox on top of bodying the lane. So why on earth is OpTic not first picking the Aatrox for Dhokla, who's a competent Aatrox player, taking this poor matchup and then going for some weird denial of Ezreal of FBI?
Yeah, I mean, you can say we're playing against a Poe comp and Corki Ezreal, so I get shot with a lot of stuff, and that's why he takes more damage. But even then, I don't think it's a 12K difference in how much damage you're going to take, as well as the fact, like you're saying, the laning phase. And then the Ezreal pick, on the flip side, didn't really get anything done. I still think it was pretty well played by Arrow, but they did still lose the laning phase. There was much better gank coordination, as well as the Braum did a really good job by Huhi to set up a lot of these kills. You know, the first one kind of a counter gank, coordinating well with Contractz, and then the next one, you know, Contractz was barely involved in the play when he went for a flash Braum ult, and then FBI, with that lead, was able to go in and pick up the kills that were getting set up by some of the other poke damage on their own team.
FBI was playing like a boss today.
He was out of control.
You're starting to see a little bit of what people were talking about when he was when he was acquired and picked up, right? This idea that he could definitely develop into a star player, and he had a couple of those moments, right? The willingness to pull the trigger, go in, secure that kill, and ultimately take the team fight. Returning to your point, though, Crumbs, I think, you know, it's really a testament then to the power of Aatrox, right? The strength of that champion. We were, you know, speculating that it feels like a buff, even though you remove the revive, but add the healing onto that. His ability to kind of drain tank in team fights was showcased.
You also have to deal with the Trundle when you're playing the Poppy, but consider the fact that Aatrox's build just makes him unbelievably tanky with the death stats. It's a 15% flat damage reduction. That's crazy. That's like having a permanent Gragas W on you. On top of that, you have Spirit Visage to increase your healing from the death stance regen regeneration. When you pop the ultimate as well, it just goes through the roof. So of course he can tank forever. So I think that just OpTic needs to reassess and kind of think that Aatrox is a much better pick than the Poppy.
All that while you have Hauntzer piloting the pick. I think that's another important thing to note. He has been one of the higher performing top laners so far. The split, it was showcased in the mid lane team fight that Golden Guardians comes up with an ace to really grab control of this game.
And yeah, it was really FBI and Hauntzer. You know, Froggen gets eliminated instantly from
Watch this Aatrox.
Yeah.
It's a multi-team threat. That's the thing. Like, Poppy, yes, she's great at singling somebody out, but once she uses her cooldown, she's not a threat. Aatrox is. This champion
Aatrox is tanking right now. This is all that damage you're talking about.
Look at the healing that goes through. Hits a cube plus 600, plus 724.
Yeah.
You ever see a number that's a crit? That's a late crit.
I've seen some big numbers from Aatrox, and that's what we're talking about. The tankiness, yeah, you don't see it in terms of like, oh, he got chunked by that Ezreal EWQ combo, but then he heals it all back up.
Right.
So absolutely a big problem this game was Hauntzer. He also got the Rift Herald early on, so they did give him a little bit more help than we sometimes see to make sure that he got really far ahead of Dhokla. But as much as I'm trying to be really positive so far throughout this segment, there is this other like looming problem this game that we haven't really talked about.
Which is the fact that these are two of the teams fighting for the final few spots in the playoff picture. Currently tied for 5th, the both of them at 8 wins, 8 losses. When you talk about relative strengths of playoff teams and the ultimate, and ultimately maybe their prospects moving into playoffs, what does this game do in terms of serving up confidence for either of these teams?
Tons for Golden Guardians. Absolutely.
So you are confident in how they will perform in playoffs as a result of that, or are you talking from a player perspective?
I'm confident in Golden Guardians coming up because the bottom lane continues to get better. They found an identity. You have a much more safer support for Huhi, and then you got FBI that can play pretty consistently well. It looks like they underrate him, at least his opponents. They always go flashing in for Froggen, and FBI was never focused at any of these
You seem
fights.
less convinced.
Yeah, can we pull up the gold graph? Because I don't feel confident when I see a gold graph like this where it's heavily in your favor and it shoots way back up to the other team. Like that was around, a 4K gold lead.
Chasm.
And then it goes right back up to 0 because they threw. Froggen was very poorly positioned when the team had a free Baron. He gets caught out and they get forced off the Baron. Luckily, they executed better from there. They also had the macro mistake where they lose 2 inner turrets because half recall, half try and take an unsafe path, and half the path all the way around. I wasn't in love with Golden Guardians this game.
Right.
I think it's better, and to Crumbs' point, this does look like a playoff team to me.
Yes.
But it looks like a team that will lose to a CLG or C9 in 3rd place if they don't start shaping up a little more.
It is the same mistake that Froggen did last week against TSM, where you took a poor route when your team is going for Baron and it cost them the game. It could have happened this time around, so it is an individual mistake. But
Two
I think
weeks in a row.
3rd time is the charm. Okay. The 3rd time.
Okay.
Because it's an individual thing, right?
We'll
It's
give it one more
player
chance.
going for it. I think that you watch it twice, you're like, okay, I should not have done this. So if you were to shore that up, that doesn't happen.
Yeah, and to be fair, it's not like I'm saying OpTic played great.
No, I think
because Crown had a crazy Valkyrie which killed himself after he was being split in the top lane. The team was putting resources into
so
it.
bad.
Yeah, so like it's something where both these teams, I think, will make it into the playoffs.
Right.
And they have a chance to win maybe the 4th, 5th matchup. But right now, CLG and C9 still look a big step ahead.
All right, fair enough. Yeah, for Golden Guardians, hey, they'll be happy to come away with the victory. For OpTic, in contrast to the 2-0 weekend yesterday, they come away with this one at 0-2. And so that's going to sting a little bit. Definitely have some work to do when moving towards that postseason. Up next, though, 100 Thieves load onto the Rift as they challenge TSM. So don't go anywhere.